You and I have both experienced that pain. You strive for your justice, and I strive for mine.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. Back like we ain't never left, baby. So, this is an important segment to me today. I've got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. And I don't know how long this video is going to be. But I do want to delve into everything. So I'm going to need you guys to bear with me.
Sans! I just got the most amazing idea for a puzzle! It is very awesome and complex, so bear with me! But bro! Yes, Sans? I don't see any bears with you!
I mean, at the end of the video, later on, I have something to address as far as something I've seen a fellow Yang ganger going through. And I kind of want to address the elephant in the room regarding that because it's important. And I've gone through it in many different circumstances. And I just wanted to talk about that. But that's for the later half of the video. The first thing I wanted to get into, though, is elephants must be flying. Elephants must be flying. It's a Christmas miracle, folks.
No one cares about Christmas anymore. We do. The hope for a Christmas miracle is all we have.
Because, man, oh man, oh man, I've done, 2 or 3 videos already addressing Joe Biden and the Tara Reade allegations. The Tara Reade allegations. And, look, I'm just one person. And I can do my best to get the information out in the atmosphere, get it out in the stratosphere, and hopefully, it picks up. And I covered how, Time's Up buried it, how Joe Biden pretty much bribed one of the affiliates, one of the main people with the Me Too movement in Time's Up. It made him part of the upper echelon in his campaign. I've hit the nail on the head as many times as I possibly could regarding the Joe Biden allegations with Tara Reade. I even said in the last video or the video before, this Trump chemicals situation has made more headlines and got more feet than the Tara Reade allegations. There's an allegation against somebody that's about to become POTUS and is getting swept under the rug. Now, finally,
The Rock has come back to the back.
No. Finally, CNN has picked up the story and did a good job actually talking about it. For the most part, a good job. I was shocked. I didn't expect them to just full on cover it. Do I agree with everything, how it's quoted and put out in the segment is? No, not entirely, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. It was actually a pretty decent segment. I'm going to play the clip in its entirety, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it.
All right, turning to the 2020 campaign and why a video from 1993 is part of today's political discussion. CNN national political correspondent MJ Lee joining us now. So MJ, tell us how this video could relate to a sexual assault allegation made against Joe Biden dating to that time when he was a senator. And first of all, MJ, can you bring us up to speed on the allegation itself?
Well, Fred, a woman named Tara Reade, she was an aide for then Senator Joe Biden in the early 1990s. She recently alleged that Joe Biden had sexually assaulted her many years ago. And CNN interviewed Reade for the first time on the phone last night. CNN had previously reached out to her, but last night was the first time that she agreed to be interviewed on the record. And she says that sometime in 1993, that she was asked to deliver a duffel bag to then Senator Joe Biden, and that inside of a corridor, somewhere inside the Capitol Hill complex, that Biden had her up against a wall, used his knee to spread open her legs, and put his fingers inside her. Now, the Biden campaign denies this allegation, and we will discuss sort of their full response in just a few minutes. But the context that's important here, too, is that this woman, Tara Reade, previously last year publicly said that Biden had touched her in ways that had made her feel uncomfortable, touching her neck, touching her hair. So this new allegation of sexual assault is obviously new and so much more serious than what she had said last year.
And is there corroboration of Reade's story?
Well, what's important is that several media outlets, including the New York Times, the Washington Post, they have done some extensive reporting on this allegation and story. And the New York Times says that they spoke with a friend of Reade's who told the Times that Reade told her about this alleged assault at the time that it happened. They also spoke with a second friend who says that Reade told her in 2008 about Biden touching her inappropriately. The Washington Post also spoke with Tara Reade's brother, who initially told the Post, quote, "I heard that there was a gym bag incident and that he was inappropriate. I remember her telling me he said she was nothing to him." Now, interestingly, several days later, according to the Post, Tara Reade's brother got back in touch with the paper and said that he did remember her saying that Biden had put his hands under her clothes. Now, I also just want to share that according to the Times, they interviewed some 24 people who worked with Biden in the early 1990s, and none of them corroborated Tara Reade's allegation. They also spoke with some other women who had previously also said that they felt uncomfortable with some of the physical interactions that they had with Joe Biden, though very important to note, none of them accused him of sexual assault. All of these women that the Times reached out to said that they didn't have anything new that they wanted to add about the experiences they had, though several of them did tell the Times that they believed Tara Reade's new allegation.
Now, MJ, so how does Reade's mother factor into all of this?
Well, Tara Reade's mother is a key figure in all of this because she is the one other person that Tara Reade says she told about the alleged sexual assault at the time. Now, she died a few years ago, so she is not somebody who can speak and corroborate any part of this story now. But what surfaced last night was a segment on CNN's Larry King Live from 1993 that appears to feature Tara Reade's mother's voice. Let's just watch that first, and then we can talk about it.
Yes, hello. I'm wondering what a staffer would do besides go to the press in Washington. My daughter has just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. And the only thing she could have done was go to the press, and she chose not to do it out of respect for him.
Or she had a story to tell, but out of respect for the person she worked for, she didn't tell it.
That's true.
Now, what Tara Reade told CNN last night on the phone is that this is, in fact, her mother's voice, that she feels certain about that, and that sometime after the alleged assault in 1993, her mother did tell her that she had called into Larry King, and Reade told CNN that she was upset about that at the time because she didn't want her mother doing anything of that kind. Now, to be clear, this woman's voice that we just heard, she only refers to problems related to her daughter and a prominent senator, but she doesn't name any names. She certainly doesn't mention any details, doesn't say anything about sexual harassment or sexual assault. So I think it's just very important that we be clear about what this clip does and does not show, it does seem to suggest that Tara Reade did share something with her mother that she found troubling about her experience of working with a senator.
And then is there a response coming from the Biden campaign?
So the Biden campaign is not commenting on this Larry King Live segment that surfaced last night, but they did previously share statements denying the sexual assault allegation. I first want to read a statement from Kate Bedingfield, the deputy campaign manager. She says, Vice President Biden has dedicated his public life to changing the culture and the laws around violence against women. He authored and fought for the passage and reauthorization of the landmark Violence Against Women Act. He firmly believes that women have a right to be heard and heard respectfully. Such claims should also be diligently reviewed by an independent press. What is clear about this claim? It is untrue. This absolutely did not happen. Now, the other statement that the campaign also shared with CNN is from Marianne Baker. She was the executive assistant for Biden in the 1980s and 1990s when Biden was a senator. She is the woman that Reade told the Times she had complained to, in addition to two other aides at Biden's office. So let me just read Baker's statement. She says, in all my years working for Senator Biden, I never once witnessed or heard of or received any reports of inappropriate conduct, period. Not from Ms. Reade, not from anyone. I have absolutely no knowledge or memory of Ms. Reade's accounting of events, which would have left a searing impression on me as a woman professional and as a manager. Their clearly false allegations are in complete contradiction to both the inner workings of our Senate office and to the man I know and work so closely with for almost 2 decades.
Okay, so some key points to get into. What this coverage shows is that Tara Reade did come out at the time and spoke to many people about what happened to her. Her story is corroborated by many people. So at the time back then, she did go to multiple people and speak on what happened to her. I like that they put that in a story and they let it be known. Because one of the things that I've seen people talk about, one of the things I've seen people say, and not just for this story in particular, but for like rape victims in general, is and victims of sexual assault in general, is why are you just now coming out and saying it? As if there's like some sort of malicious intent, which, don't get me wrong, there have been people that have lied, obviously. Studies show that quite oftentimes the victims don't come out early on. They come out later for many, many reasons, right? But even if you don't want to fall for that, even if that bothers you, it shows that she went to people back in the day and said something about it. So you can shut that down if that's part of, your argument against these accusations. What I didn't like was, and I get it, because she's not wrong, she's not lying, but I think you're also misleading people when you say, in the Larry King interview, she didn't say it was sexual assault, and she didn't name the person. So, I'm just putting that out there. We know who she's talking about, and we know it's about the sexual assault. Like, don't be coy. Don't do that. Don't play that game. Like, what you're saying is true. It's factual. I'm not going to argue with it. She did not say that it was Joe Biden when her mom called Larry King. Her mom also didn't say that it was a sexual assault or a rape at the time. But you know who she's referring to. And for you to play it up as any other way, quite honestly, is disrespectful to not only Ms. Reade, but to the viewers and the listeners. Now, let's talk about what Marianne Baker said. She goes on to say, in all my years working for Senator Biden, I never once witnessed or heard of or received any reports of inappropriate conduct, period. Not from Ms. Reade, not from anyone. Now, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm not saying I don't believe you. But, and there's a big but.
Nope, not going to do it. Nope.
The University of Delaware has all of Joe Biden's Senate records. And they are refusing, absolutely and utterly refusing, to release any of it. His records would and could show if Miss Reade filed a complaint. It would be in there. But I repeat, the University of Delaware is refusing to release the records. And they don't have a reason why. Just because. Just because. I find that quite interesting. Now, I'm not saying that a filed complaint is in those records for sure 100%. I'm not saying that. I don't want you to get it twisted. But very likely, if there was a complaint, it would be in there. Food for thought. Eat up. All right, so segue to the next issue that I have that actually has been kind of picking up steam all over social media. The episode, as of this recording, so if you're watching this 3 days from now and it's back up, I'm letting you know as of this recording. They've removed the Larry King episode where Tara Reade's mom calls in and talks to Larry King about the situation. Gone. As far as the Google Play Store is concerned, it's gone. They've taken that episode, removed it, and then the episode that was after that, they are now calling the continuative episode. So say it's episode 152, and then 153 is when Tara Reade's mom calls. They've removed 153. They're making 154 be the new 153. You follow what I'm saying? Now, some people are saying CNN removed the episode. I don't know if CNN removed it. I don't know. I'm not sure why the episode was removed. I'm not sure who has the authority, who pointed the finger to specifically remove that episode. But folks, it's gone. And if you're going to sit across from me, if you're going to sit on your mobile phone, are you going to sit in front of your TV screen, are you going to sit in front of your computer screen and tell me that is coincidence, then I have a bridge to sell you. That is no coincidence. It is no coincidence that as it's coming about, that with the Larry King episode, with Reade's mom calling, that it starts to pick up steam, that episode disappears. That is not coincidence. That's just not. Now, maybe they might re-upload it. And I just want to warn you, if it disappears and re-uploads, I hope somebody has the original episode to see that it wasn't doctored or edited in any way. Wild. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. There's a lot of people that they kind of want to click it off. There's a lot of people that hate Trump so much that they are willing to overlook and won't acknowledge the wrongdoings of others simply because they have to get rid of Trump. I hate him so much. We hate him so much. I understand. Her rape can wait. I'm willing to look the other way. I'm not looking the other way. Both Biden and Trump can be bad. Correction. Both Biden and Trump are bad. One's an idiot. One has cognitive decline. They both put themselves on women who don't want anything to do with them. I mean, you can ignore this all you want. But I will continue to hammer away. You see, when it came to Trump he got all the coverage. When it came to Trump and his allegations and the things he did, they cover it like that. And the independent media didn't even really need to cover it. Independent media would talk about the media covering it because they were on it. This Joe Biden, no, shh. You're not shutting me up. It's not happening. I'll do 100 goddamn videos about it. Because as this continues, she becomes more and more and more credible. As new things come out, she becomes more and more credible. And it's just becoming harder and harder for people to ignore. I'm not going to ignore it. And then people wonder why you have a hard time voting for Biden. We already have one shithead in office. Take out this shithead, put in a new shithead. That's all you're doing. So, fascinating. Just wow. Wow. And please don't be in that group of people that think conspiracy theory or this kind of thing is impossible. They wouldn't cover anything up. If you know American history at all, then you know cover-ups are the norm. So, wild. So, that kind of segues me into the next thing I wanted to talk about. So, there's a fellow Yang ganger and a YouTuber who goes by the name of Trumper for Yang. I might have spoke to him 3 or 4 times. I know he's subscribed to my channel. And from what I've seen, he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. He seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. But something happened to him that has happened to me a couple times. And I just wanted to speak on it because I feel it's very, very relevant. So, everybody knows, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of you probably know who Cheech and Chong is, right? Knows about Cheech and Chong. So, Tommy Chong and Trumper for Yang sort of got into a discussion, so to speak, or I don't know if you want to call it tweet back and forth or retweets discussion. I don't know. You call it what you want to call it. But Trumper for Yang had reached out to Tommy Chong. And he said, "Hey, Tommy, I am for Andrew first," meaning he's for Andrew Yang first, fought very hard for him. I will now, it says I will now vote for Donald Trump because the Democrats have nothing to offer. I bet you and I have a lot more in common than you think. Not all Trump supporters are bad. So, Tommy Chong then goes on to say, I'm sorry, but if you are for Trump, then get behind me. If you don't see how evil and sick he is, then I feel sorry for you. I must block you. So, Trumper for Yang literally held out an olive branch and was like, look, I know we disagree on probably a majority of things, but we're not so different. I bet you we're not so different. I bet we have more in common than you think. And Chong said, I don't care. I don't care what you have to say. Fully block everything you have to possibly offer to any sort of relevant conversation. I'm going to block your account. I want nothing to do with you. Get behind me. Trump bad. Trump bad. Trump bad. Trump bad. Smart guy. Tommy Chong, smart individual, ladies and gentlemen. Smart individual. So, look, he was, Trumper for Yang obviously was bothered by it. And, he tweeted about how he was bothered by it. And I told him I've never come across anything more divisive than politics. It's true. But I've grown accustomed to it. I've grown accustomed to the divisiveness. I've grown accustomed to people disagreeing with you. That's just what politics is. I have, friends of mine who we won't even talk. We won't even start to bring up a discussion about politics because it can probably go way left. And, not everybody's up for that conversation. That's fine. But somebody had responded to Trump or Free Yang, and they said something along the lines of, if you're voting for Trump, you have no morals and like you're a bad person and stuff like that. And that really bothered me because you can't get on people for pretty much not voting for who you want them to vote for. That's what it boils down to. You can't call someone a bad person because they refuse to bend the knee to who you want them to vote for. That's just not true. And you're in a different world. You're living in a different world. You're living in a different reality. If for 1 second you just rub two brain cells together and think about this. He was for Donald Trump before. The only reason he went to the Democratic side was for Andrew Yang. Full stop. That was it. The guy said, you're not a true progressive, you call yourself a progressive and stuff like that. I've watched a couple of Trump or Free Yang's videos. I've never seen him call himself a progressive. If he identifies as a progressive, great. But you can't expect a former Trump voter, after Yang drops out, to go to Joe Biden. Does that even make sense? Stop and think for 1 second. Does that make sense to you? I was all in on Trump. The only reason I'm crossing that line is for Andrew Yang, who's talking about my problems, who's talking about things that can move us forward. He's no longer in it, so I'm going to go to Joe Biden. Stop and think. Does that make any sense? No, it does not. Former Republican? Fuck it, I'm going to go to Joe Biden. Stop and think. Get out of your circle and think for a second. Russell from Grassroots Yang Gang, American Dystopia. He didn't call himself a Democrat and never would. He called himself a Yangocrat. A lot of those Republicans that crossed over the line for Andrew Yang, they were Yangocrats. When Yang was running all through social media, when I saw Republicans vying for Yang, they would all full on say, I am not a Democrat. I do not support the Democratic Party. I'm only here for Andrew Yang. A lot of people were simply there for Andrew Yang. So because Yang's not here, he's going to go back to where he came from. The Republican Party. Because the Democrats, like he said, aren't offering him anything. Yang offered solutions. Enough so that he left his party and went to the Democratic Party. For Andrew Yang. Yang's not there, and they're not even trying. They're not even attempting. They're not even lying or fabricating that they'll do some of Yang's. Like, you really think he was going to stay in the Democratic Party and vote for Joe Biden? And I've been seeing this, man. I've been seeing this. They're not just getting on former Republicans. They're getting on people that were for Sanders. They're getting on people like that who were candidate driven. This candidate has what I want, has what I need. This is the only reason for a lot of people I'm even getting involved in politics. Because this individual, that individual is gone, and you just full on expect them to just embrace Joe Biden. Get over yourselves. It's not going to happen. That's not how the world works. That's not how politics works. It's not how it works. You're literally calling this man a bad person and getting on this man because he won't bend the knee. Now look, I don't agree with Trump's policies. I'm not a Donald Trump fan. I think he's hilarious, unwittingly. Like, he doesn't even mean to be funny, but he is. I think he's a joke. I think he's a joke. I think he's hard-headed. He's bullheaded. Look at his history. Look at his past. Back then, his financial advisor said, hey, don't get the Taj Mahal. It's a horrible idea. What does he do? He gets the Taj Mahal and goes bankrupt. I don't like Trump. I don't agree with his policies. They don't do anything for me. They don't benefit me. So guess what? I'm not voting for Trump. But if there's somebody that Trump's policies does something for them, if Trump's policies connect with somebody else, I'm just not going to say, well, you're a bad person or you have no morals. How can you say this man has no moral? Mind you, the guy that was saying this deleted the tweet. How can you say he has no morals when Joe Biden literally is in the midst of sexual assault allegations? Busing, desegregate. If you must not realize or understand Joe Biden's history. I can just as easily say, oh, you're voting for Joe Biden? You have no morals. I can just as easily say that. So, look, I'm sure that man can defend himself. I just found it very ironic that, you can get on this person who only came to the Democratic Party for one reason only. That was Andrew Yang. And you just fully expect him to just, all right, Yang's out. That was the only reason I'm here. Hey, Joe Biden, how's it going? That's not how it works. That's not how anybody that's in the politics knows that's not how it works. Unless you're just Democrat all the way. Unless you're playing red versus blue. Unless you're playing that game where no matter what the Dems do, you're just going to support the Dems, then that's not how it works. I'm sure there are a lot of people that do that. I'm going to support the Democratic Party, who they put out no matter what. I'm full-on Democrat. Congratulations, that's great, but that's not how everybody is. And so, no morals, bad people. There are 2-time Obama voters who voted for Donald Trump. You do understand that, right? There are people who voted for a man named Barack Hussein Obama twice. Bronze skin and all. Who voted for Donald Trump. They're bad, immoral people. Stop doing that. Like, you're not going to shame anybody in a voting for Joe Biden. The more you do that, at least with me, I double down on not doing it. I don't know if that's how other people are. Maybe that's an issue with me. Maybe it's a Scorpio issue. I'm a Scorpio. I don't know. The more you try to shame me into doing something, the more I'm going to push against it. And the more I'm going to double down on what my original idea was. So yeah, I just wanted to speak on that. Stop doing that to people. Like, literally in the Tommy Chong thread, they were saying Trumper for Yang is a bot. He's not a real person. Because he was literally saying, people were literally saying, there's no way a real person would vote for Donald Trump. Like, it's a troll account. He's a troll, not a real person. So because he won't vote for the person you want him to vote for, he's not a real person? He's a bot? The dude literally has a YouTube channel. He exists. Flesh and blood. But you had to do so many mental gymnastics that you had to say, I disagree with him so much and he's so wrong that he's a bot. Yeah, look how early his account was made. His account was made 4-5 months ago. He's not a real person. There's no way a real person would ever vote for Donald Trump. What? The mental gymnastics you had to do to make yourselves feel better. The entitlement. There's no way a guy would vote for Donald. How can you have supported Andrew Yang's ideas and then go back to Donald Trump? The Dems' ideas are just as shitty. The Dems aren't doing. What are you talking about? They're only a couple donors difference. You're sitting here pretending like these corporate Democrats give a shit. These corporate Dems don't care about you. Maybe on social issues, they'll pander the hell out of you on social issues. But economically, they're going to keep their foot on your throat. Come on. Come on. There was really only one Democrat that was really, really pushing to help you guys financially. And that was Andrew Yang. And they scoffed at him. They laughed at him. I just want to give people $1,000 a month. You hear this guy? So, I just wanted to comment on that. It really grinded my gears. Look, again, I maybe spoke to him 3 or 4 times tops. Seems like a good guy. He's got a pretty decent YouTube channel. He gets into things that, not everybody talks about. Go, if you want to give him a follow, go right ahead. But unacceptable. Unacceptable. And I'm going to call your bullshit every time I see people doing that. You can pretend that Joe Biden is great all you want. I'm not going to. And you were fooling yourselves if you thought all the Republicans that came to support Yang would immediately just hold on to the Democratic Party. That doesn't even make sense. Yangocrats. They were calling themselves Yangocrats. Sorry, had to vent there a little bit, and this video probably has gone on for too long as it is. So I'm going to end it there. A lot more to discuss tomorrow, too. Got a lot of stuff to discuss tomorrow. So CNN covered it, did a decent job, but then Larry King video with Tara Reade's mom speaking on it disappeared out of existence. That's weird. And then hypocrites and Tommy Chong being quite frankly a dick. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. Just hip thrust that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to the channel. Every little bit helps. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.